All right, guys. So if you remember, BLM about a month ago was a little bit more transparent about their finances, right? Because there had been reports that, Black Lives Matter related causes were taking in billions of dollars. And one of the most prominent Black Lives Matter organizations was the Black Lives Matter National Global Network. Okay. And the leader of that global network was Patrice Cullors. And she's saying that they poured in about 90 million last year. Now, obviously, this was an underestimate in my opinion, but still, I mean, $90 million is not anything to sneeze at, right? And these chapters, right, that's under the Black Lives Matter Global Network have been complaining about funding, right? They've been complaining about funding. They're saying we're not getting the proper funding and that the main chapter is not supporting them financially for their woke activities. And not only that, you also have some activists out in Ferguson, okay? So, for example, Mike Brown's dad was also complaining about how Black Lives Matter was not supporting them as well, even though Black Lives Matter has raised a ton of money off of them, okay? And that whole movement and what happened in Ferguson, okay? Now, there was an interesting story that came out that Black Lives Matter founder Patrice Cullors has bought a $1.4 million compound in Topanga, California, right? $1.4 million. And listen, guys, I'm not trying to pocket watch, right? I'm not trying to count nobody's paper. I just find this interesting, right? I find it interesting because Tamir Rice's mother had called out Miss Tamika Mallory for monopolizing and capitalizing off of her son's death, right? She basically went after her, Benjamin Crump, all the other characters, right, that will come into these cities, right, host these events and make money off of these people's deaths, these tragic deaths, and then basically not compensate those who they're profiting off of. And, guys, I'm not trying to pocket watch. I'm not trying to count anybody's money. I don't really have a problem with how people get their money. But at the same time, a lot of people are donating to this movement thinking that they're, helping out black people, right? And I'm talking about a lot of non-black people as well that are donating to this. And it seems to me that as more time goes on, it becomes apparent that, these funds are not necessarily going to help black people at all. Right? It's just enriching those who have been lifetime activists, who have made careers off of activism. Okay? And, at the end of the day, I just got to call out the fraudulent activity when I see it. Because, again, this is dangerous stuff. People tell you they're trying to help you, but then, and they take your money saying that, no, we're going to help you. We're going to put it back in your community. And yet they're getting rich off of it. And then you have these chapters that are saying that, they're not getting any money. But yet you have these activists who are doing Grammy speeches, who are, out here doing commercials, who are buying, $1.4 million houses. Something ain't right, right? Something's not right. And it has to be called out because it's the right thing to do. Okay. So apparently activism paid. So let's read a little bit more about this luxurious compound. A secluded mini compound tucked in LA's rustic and semi-remote Topanga Canyon was recently sold for a tad more than $1.4 million to a corporate entity that public records show is controlled by Patrisse Khan-Cullors, 37-year-old social justice visionary and co-founder of the galvanizing and, for some, controversial Black Lives Matter movement. Khan-Cullors, a UCLA and USC graduate, married about 5 years ago to social activist and amateur boxer Gianna Khan, a co-founder of Black Lives Matter Toronto, created the Black Lives Matter hashtag in 2013 in response to George Zimmerman's acquittal in the 2012 shooting of Trayvon Martin. Since then, the largely decentralized movement has been at the influential forefront on issues of police brutality and racially motivated violence against black people, particularly in the wake of George Floyd's killing last summer that sparked massive protests across the United States around the globe. Khan-Cullors published, quote, "When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir." A winding 15-minute drive from the Commons of Calabasas and a slightly longer and somewhat less serpentine drive from Malibu's Getty Villa The pint-sized compound spans about 1/4 of an acre. The property's not so quite 2,400 square feet is divided between a 3-bedroom and 2-bath main house and a separate 1-bed, 1-bathroom apartment capable of hosting guests long term with a private entry and a living room with a kitchenette. All right, that's enough about the compound. My point is this. Activism pays, right? Activism pays. There's a whole lot of money in activism. And, it's just funny because these people, right, think that they are the resistance, right? They think that they're fighting against, big corporate interests, and they're in the minority. Okay. And I can't think of any type of real resistance movement in this country in which you see the leaders of the movement basically getting rich, right? Getting rich off of activism, right? And, some people are defending this and saying that, hey, well, you know what? If she made the money, she made the money and she can do what she wants. And I agree with that. But I just want people to be aware that, for me, this would be a non-issue and this wouldn't be a story if there weren't also reports of the organization that she's running lacking funds. Chapters, again, for their woke activities that I don't really agree with, she's not funding them. You have people that are asking for money that they've built their movement based off of, that they've raised money based off of, and they're not sharing the money. A lot of this money, it seems, is being funneled into the pockets of the activists who are getting movie deals, Netflix deals. They're getting, Cadillac commercials. They're getting the luxurious life, and they're getting paid for the activism, while those that they claim that they're trying to help are suffering. They're suffering. And, this is just one of those things that I think people should really think long and hard about, who they donate to and what movements they donate to. Right. In general, I like to keep my donations and my support to, smaller organizations that have a proven track record of using the funds for, causes that I support. Black Lives Matter has not been one of those organizations. I've never donated to them for that reason. But, it's just one of those things that I think people really should think long and hard, about who they're supporting and pay attention to those who you're supporting are actually doing with the money, right? It's nothing wrong with people that run nonprofit 501c3s getting money, right? Getting rich, because a lot of times these people have vast networks that allow them to get donations, right? To be able to hook up with people that have money to fund their organizations. And yes, they should be compensated for that network. That's kind of how nonprofits work. Okay. But a lot of those people, their nonprofits are actually doing work, right? They're actually putting money back into their communities, or at least, theoretically. Okay. But when I see, a nonprofit organization like, BLM, and their chapters are saying we're not getting the money, and you have people like Terrell Rice's mom and Mike Brown's dad saying, we're not getting any money. Our community is not being helped, even though these communities are the ones that basically built this movement. It's messed up. It's messed up. Again, this would be a non-issue. This would be a non-story. I wouldn't even be doing this video if they did not have chapters talking about how they're not getting the money in the funds. I mean, they raised $90 million and these chapters are not seeing any of it, right? But yet you have the founder of this movement out here buying $1.4 million houses in California. And, $1.4 million in California doesn't really get you that far, but it is what it is. I mean, I probably would have bought it in Texas, right? Or even North Carolina, right? Where I could, get a castle, right? For $1.4 million. But, it's neither here nor there. I just found this story to be interesting, and how, these people claim to be the resistance, but yet they're being backed up by big corporations. They're, getting rich, they're getting paid. And yet, they want to call black conservatives the grifters, right? They want to call black conservatives are the sellout, when I don't see any black conservatives being sponsored by corporate America, giving speeches at the Grammys, or getting Cadillac commercials and things like that. I don't see that happening for black conservatives, but I do see BLM activists getting rich off being BLM activists. I see them doing appearances at the Grammys, again, doing commercials, speaking with Joe Biden, profiting off of this idea that America is systemically racist and that black people, are at some type of disadvantage, when these same people are living in predominantly white neighborhoods, right? Topanga, California is 1.4% black. This same person that wants all black people to believe that white people are so bad is living among white folks. There are no black people in Calabasas or Topanga, right? Very few of them. Okay. And the ones that are there are all celebrities. So, I just find it interesting how a lot of these people who want to push this idea of white supremacy love to live among those who they tell everybody else are, bad people, right? I just find it interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.